Hi, my name is Madison Noltensmeyer, and I interviewed my grandpa named Richard Noltensmeyer, and he was the director of electrical services in the Western region for a company named Freeman, and he was employed for about 15 years and retired in 2019, and some of his job duties consisted of hiring, organizing the electrical services and electricians, overseeing installation of electrical on trade shows and special events, and basically he was behind all of the conventions that happened in a large building. So he was overseeing everything that happened and made sure it was all flowing smoothly. And a typical day for him, was reviewing orders, hiring foremen, and he purchased equipment, organized load lists, and reviewed the show with electricians. And he made sure, they had a complete plan for the whole day to make sure nothing went, missed or they didn't run into any issues. He also visited trade shows and events to supervise the activities that were going on there. And he also coordinated with other trades and oversaw both plumbing and electrical. So it was a big job. And he had safety meetings that he had to conduct every single day. And he reviewed work tickets, and he worked directly with clients to make sure things went well. And he managed disputes with the unions and with clients when something went wrong. And he also worked with customer service. And he said every day was different. And some days he was at the show, some days he was at the office, and he liked the show days better because he was interacting with others, and he actually got to be outside and not just stuck at a desk all day. And he also said that he really liked how different every day was, so he wasn't bored with his job. When he had to report to somebody, he reported to the vice president and regional general manager, and he was evaluated via an annual review process. And the most trouble he had was how labor intensive it was. He had to lift a lot of stuff because there's big equipment that they need to set things up and take things down. When asking him what he liked the most, he said the satisfaction of helping customers have a good experience and seeing the overall show completed. It was really rewarding to him to see everything flow as well as he hoped it to flow. What he disliked the most was the paperwork, because obviously nobody really likes paperwork and that gets boring very quickly. Skills needed for entry. He said he landed the position a different way than most, and usually they want somebody with a college degree, but he graduated from electrical apprenticeship and he worked his way to journeyman to foreman to general manager. So he had a lot of experience and was definitely prepared for the position, but he did not get it like most people would get it. And I honestly think that they preferred this because he had a lot of hands-on interaction instead of just going straight from school to this job. And he also said he had a lot of great relationships in the industry, and they knew they had to have him because of his good reputation. And when I asked him how he prepared, he said he just answered sort of apprenticeship, and he took a job on the floor as the journeyman, obviously, and he worked his way up from there. If I wanted to do the same thing, I'd have to join the apprenticeship, and that's actually what my uncle is doing right now. His son, he is currently on the apprenticeship because he wants a job like my grandpa. And he said that he would not do anything differently. He really liked the way that he got to this position, and he believed he had a lot of knowledge from how he did it. And he said the best training sites were IBEW apprenticeship program. And the best sites for networking would be trade shows, LinkedIn, and for apprenticeship, it's union websites. And what the company values the most, the workers and the position he's in, they say they value company climate, physical and mental demands. And they also said customer service was at the top of their list, and that was the most important thing to them. And the most rewarding thing was the pay, he said, obviously. When asking how they work, whether it's individuals or teams, he said it was teams, and he is not closely supervised. It's mostly autonomously, but he has some oversight. And the level of stress was actually surprising to me. He said it was 8 out of 10, which that's obviously a lot, but I understand why, because he said every show has a deadline, and you can't mess it up. You have to get to that deadline, and they are usually given very little time to meet it. They have to set things up, and like within a week, he said, and they basically had to build a city inside a convention center within that time frame. When he was an electrician, there was a lot of lifting, but when he got his management position, there was not a lot of lifting, and it was less labor intensive. But he did say that he had to type on the computer quite a bit, so he did use his hands a lot. And he got the job with Freeman because he interviewed for it, because he wanted to leave his old job, and they gave it to him because he had a lot of years of experience and a great reputation for getting the job done at a profit. And he said employment is growing, but for a while things were put a damper on because of COVID, and you can't have large gatherings, so this work was definitely put at risk. And employees typically stay there around 10 plus years, so that's a long time, and you can see that people probably like this position. Is there seasonal hiring? Yes, there is, but he wasn't hired that way. He always hires through the union, and the best way to get hired is graduate from a union program or have a college degree. He said there are always openings because it is an international company and minimum wage is the typical salary. And is there overtime? He said yes, and benefits consist of health, the 401k, vacation pay, and that's personal time off. He said it was a very good career and he would do it all the same if he could. And he also said he liked working with people, helping them, and seeing the results. In the beginning, he said he liked being on the show floor and working with his hands. And he also liked doing the budgets. And he said there was no one else to contact, and he is probably the best person to speak to about this position. All jokes, obviously. But I had a really fun time talking to him, and he had a great time explaining his job to me. And I feel like I learned a really good amount because I want a job in the business field like this, and he explained it really well and in detail to me. Thank you.